A man is drowning. The water is closing over his head, his lungs are burning, and in that final second, with no more room to bargain, he finally says the words, "I believe that there is no God except that in whom the children of Israel believe." That man was the most powerful ruler on earth. He had armies, he had wealth, he had people bowing to him and calling him a god. And in his last breath, he tried to make a deal with the same Allah he spent his whole life mocking. Allah's response is one of the coldest lines in the entire Quran. Now? But you disobeyed before and were of the corruptors. Surah Yunus, Ayah 91. That's it. No negotiation. The door was open his entire life, and he slammed it shut himself, over and over, until the moment it closed for good. And here's the part that should actually keep you up at night. Allah didn't just let him drown and disappear. He said something even stranger right after. So today, we will save you in body, that you may be a sign for those who succeed you.
Surah Yunus, Ayah 92, meaning Allah preserved his corpse, not his soul, his body. You can walk into a museum in Cairo today and stand in front of it. Think about that. Thousands of years later, a man who once said, "I am your Lord, Most High," is lying in a glass case so tourists can take pictures of him. That's not a coincidence. That's Allah answering arrogance with a lesson that outlives the arrogant man himself. But Pharaoh isn't even close to alone. This is a pattern. Every single person who looked at the power of Allah and thought, "Not me, I'm different. I'm too strong, too smart, too rich for this to touch me." Every one of them got an answer. And the answers are so specific, so tailored to exactly how they sinned that it almost feels personal. Because it was. Take Qarun. This guy wasn't a king. He was just insanely wealthy. Quran says his treasure keys alone were so heavy that a group of strong men struggled to carry them. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 76. People around him were literally saying, "Wow, we wish we had what Qarun has." And when his own community warned him, told him not to be so arrogant about his wealth, told him Allah doesn't love those who exult in what they have, you know what he said? "I was only given this because of knowledge I have." Same surah, Ayah 78. He credited himself, not Allah, himself, his own intelligence, his own hustle. Sound familiar? Sounds like half of social media today. And what happened to him? The very ground he was standing on, the same wealth he flexed on everyone with, Allah made the earth swallow him and his house whole. Ayah 81. One moment, he's the guy everyone envies. The next moment, there's no house, no gold, no Qarun. Just a hole in the ground where a man used to be. Now let's talk about Nimrod, because his story is honestly one of the boldest confrontations in human history. This is a king who argued directly with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam about who controls life and death. Ibrahim said, "My Lord is the one who gives life and causes death." And Nimrod, trying to sound clever, said, "I give life and cause death," and then had two prisoners brought out, killed one and freed the other, as if that proved anything. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 258. This is a man standing in front of a prophet of Allah trying to play word games with the creator of the universe. So Ibrahim didn't even argue with him anymore. He just said, "Indeed, Allah brings the sun from the east, so bring it up from the west." And the ayah ends with one devastating line. So the disbeliever was overwhelmed, and Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. That's it. Nimrod had no answer, because you cannot out-argue the one who controls the sun. Then there's the people of Aad, the nation of Prophet Hud. These were people so physically massive and so proud of their strength that Quran says they used to boast, "Who is greater than us in strength?" Surah Fusilat, Ayah 15. Think about how that sentence ends though, because the next part is brutal. Did they not see that Allah, who created them, was greater than them in strength? They looked at their own bodies, their own buildings carved into mountains, and thought that made them untouchable. So Allah sent a wind. Just wind. Surah Al-Haqqa describes it as a screaming, violent wind that Allah imposed on them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession. And the survivors are described as lying there, as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Ayah 7. The strongest nation on earth, wiped out by something you can't even hold in your hand.
Thamud, the people of Prophet Saleh, got a different kind of test. Allah sent them a she-camel as a clear sign and told them very simply, let her graze, don't harm her. That's the whole test. One camel. And they couldn't even manage that. They hamstrung her and killed her out of pure defiance, just to prove they could do it. Surah Ash-Shams describes their punishment as one single blast, and Allah leveled the destruction so evenly that Ayah 14 says, and he did not fear its consequence. Read that again. Allah destroyed an entire nation, and there was no hesitation, no fear of backlash, because there was nothing and no one that can hold Allah accountable. He answers to no one. Then you have the people of Lut, alayhi salam, whose sin was so severe that Allah didn't even send an earthquake or a wind. He turned their entire city upside down. Surah Hud, Ayah 82. We made the highest part of the city its lowest, and rained upon them stones of layered hard clay. Imagine your own city flipped completely upside down in an instant, while stones fall from the sky, marked, according to the following ayah, for the transgressors specifically. Not random stones, marked ones, meant for them. And before all of them, there was the flood. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam spent 950 years, as mentioned in Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 14, calling his people to Allah. 950 years of patience, and most of them still refused. So when the punishment came, it didn't spare anyone based on relationship or bloodline.
Not even Nuh's own son. His son thought he could just climb a mountain and save himself from a flood that was covering the entire earth. Surah Hud shows Nuh calling out to him to come aboard, and the son refusing, saying he'll take refuge on a mountain. And then one sentence ends it, and the waves came between them, and he was among the drowned. Ayah 43. Blood didn't save him. Being the prophet's son didn't save him. Defiance did what defiance always does. Even much later, close to the time of the Prophet Muhammad,
Peace be upon him, there was a king named Abraha who marched an entire army with elephants toward the Kaaba, intending to destroy it. He had the biggest weapon of that era, war elephants, and he thought that gave him the advantage over the house of Allah. Surah Al-Fil describes what happened. Allah sent birds in flocks, throwing stones of baked clay, and made that entire army like eaten straw. Ayah 5. An army with elephants reduced to nothing by birds. Not soldiers, birds. You want to know something that ties every single one of these stories together? It's not really about pharaohs and kings and ancient nations. It's about a pattern that Allah tells us directly is still active. There's a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that Allah gives respite to the wrongdoer, and when he finally seizes him, he does not let him escape. And then he recited the ayah from Surah Hud, Ayah 102, and thus is the seizure of your Lord when he seizes the cities while they are committing wrong. Indeed, his seizure is painful and severe. Respite. That's the key word. Every person on this list wasn't punished the moment they sinned. Pharaoh ruled for decades. Nimrod argued and walked away that day. Qarun flexed his wealth for years before the ground opened. Allah gave every single one of them time, chance after chance, warning after warning, prophet after prophet, sign after sign. The punishment only came after the patience ran out. So here's the real question this leaves you with. If Allah gave that much time to men who called themselves gods, who argued with prophets, who destroyed nations of believers just to prove a point, what makes anyone today think they're being ignored, or worse, that they've gotten away with something? The silence isn't permission, it's respite, and respite always runs out. If these stories moved you even a little, that's exactly why I make them. Keeping this going takes real time and effort, so if you'd like to support the work, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. And honestly, even a small coffee means a lot. I also just started posting on Instagram, Pinterest, and X, sharing simple Islamic reminders you can send straight to a friend or family member who needs it that day. Links are in my channel bio. Come follow me there so we can build this together. I've also opened a Gumroad shop for anyone who wants to go deeper, and I genuinely love to know what you want to see next. Drop your ideas in the comments. Whatever product or topic you're hoping I create, I'm listening. Right now, I'm working on something close to my heart, A pocket dua book, small enough to carry anywhere, meant to become a real part of your daily life. If that's something you'd want on your shelf, subscribe so you're the first to know the moment it's ready.